Okay, purpose of this video is to help you get from Solidworks to our plasma cutter. We're going to start with our Solidworks part, take it into the Torchmate software, which is ultimately going to be used to create the toolpaths, and then we hopefully be able to cut out some parts on the plasma cutter. I'm looking at this T-bracket that we modified for this year's chassis. I like to look at things perpendicular when I'm making the DXF file that's needed. So I'm going to look at it straight on. While it's highlighted in blue, I'm going to right click and go to Export DXF. Now it's a two-step process. It's going to ask for a location for that DXF file. I'm going to put it in with our GrabCAD stuff in the chassis folder. And then it's going to ask, is there anything to edit? And I'm going to leave this alone. We can edit it in the Torchmate software. So I'm going to take that whole surface and hit OK. Hit save again. As I said, it was a two-step process, and that pretty much created our DXF. Next, I'm going to open up the Torchmate software and add the tool. Okay, I'm here in the Torchmate software, and depending on how many of these brackets we're going to make or what size material we're going to use, we may edit this box right here. So the easy way to do that is to go to Layout and go to Material Size, and you can set up whatever size piece of aluminum or steel that you're cutting on the plasma cutter. For our purposes, I'm going to leave it at 12 by 12 because I know that this T bracket is going to fit, and I think I only need 4 of them, so we should be good to go. All right, next up we're going to import this. So we're going to go to File and go to Import, and then we got to find that file that we just saved. So I'm going to go to Quick Access for me, go to my documents, go to GrabCAD, and find that part. When I click here, it's going to ask for changing a font and so forth. We're going to leave this standard polyarcs, leave it alone. Hit OK. And okay, we have our part here and we can move it around. We want to be very careful though. A lot of times, whether we're bringing into Torchmate or VCarve or any other software, when you create your DXF, right now if I click off to the side, you'll notice if I click here, I'm selecting the perimeter, the outside of that, but I don't have my circles. And you may, for example, select everything except one of the circles and then try to move it, and now this file is kind of messed up. So you want to be really careful that you select everything when you're moving it around. Now in this case, we are not going to use the holes because the holes are not cut accurately enough on the plasma cutter. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those. But if those were part of the job, we would want to be very careful about how we move things around that we didn't get rid of them. So I'm going to get inside there and just knock out my holes and delete them. This is the part that we want. Whenever you bring a DXF file into any software, it doesn't always come in connected. So I'm going to start by selecting it up here and going to Arrange and go to Connect Path, and just make sure that all of the pieces are connected. And then we can go to Arrange and go to Make Path. Now, we're going to take this part, we want to make a few of them, so it makes sense right now to go ahead and make some copies of this. So I'm going to go to Edit and go ahead and copy this by duplicating. All right. Might be nice to turn this around so we're not wasting as much material. And I'm going to put this guy over here, nest it in. We got to be careful about how tightly we nest them because we could end up with trouble with the torch running into the lead in or so forth. I'm going to go to Layout again and, Edit, and make another duplicate of my pair. And I think we needed 8 of these. So I'll select this again. See if we can fit this on our sheet. I may need to edit our sheet in order to get all these in here. Looks like we can fit them. All right, so now we have all of our artwork, so to speak, and now we want to add the tool paths to that. So again, we're going to select everything. One more time, I'm going to go to Arrange and go to Make Path. Then we're going to go to Machine and go to Create Tool Path, Male. Now, the material thickness here doesn't really matter. What matters is our settings when we get to the plasma cutter. I'm just going to leave it at 1/4 inch. Under Basic Cut tab, we do want to come in and add a feed rate. I'm going to set our feed rate to 100, not because that's what we're going to use, because it's easy to edit. We can, on the plasma cutter, we can do a percentage of 100 and just it's easy to change. Depending on the thickness of material and the type of material we're using, we will change our feed rates on the plasma cutter itself, but it's nice to leave it at 100 for here. Lead in and lead out. We want a lead in. We're going to create a lead in. You can create an arc or a line, and we need to give it a distance. I'm going to go with a line and make it 1/8 of an inch and hit OK. Now, yours may look different than mine right now, and it has to do with the view settings. So you want to go to View, and I'm going to go to Show Tool Paths Only right now. And these, my artwork is no longer showing, and these are my tool paths, and these are the lead-ins that I was talking about. And it looks like they're in a fine spot. It's not going to create any problems for us. So that's it for this. You're just going to save this file and then bring it over to the plasma cutter. And on the plasma cutter, you're going to output this as a tool path.